It is hard to breathe. Your heads are covered in animal feed sacks. Your mouths are gagged, and you haven't had a drink of water for hours. Ropes cut into your wrists, and you ache after being kicked and beaten repeatedly by your boss's henchmen. The door opens and hot air fills your lungs. Hands grab you violently and drag you out from the back of the truck. They force you to kneel in the sand, and your knees burn. It is 1951, in the wilds outside Las Vegas, and this is the place the mob takes you to die, where bodies are buried in shallow graves. Life is cheap, and few will mourn your loss. Perhaps your deaths will be a warning to other lowlifes that try to trick the syndicate. You just hope that your death will be quick. Scorpions, vultures, coyotes, and foul things of the desert will strip the flesh from your bones. You know why you're here. You were greedy and you got caught. Mr. Pickett, your employer, must have found out that you were skimming money from the casino. You hear a car approaching, doors opening and closing, and footsteps. The bags are pulled from your heads, and you are blinded by the morning sun. Then you see him. Mr. Pickett is a skeleton of a man, thin, menacing, dressed in a perfect pinstriped suit, with a black hat, sunglasses, and a wide, terrifying smile. His goons stand next to him with Tommy guns in their hands. They are ready to take you down. He speaks. His voice is dry as sandpaper. You have all betrayed me. You deserve nothing more than a bullet. But I hate wasting resources that have potential, and that took guts. So I'll give you one last chance to redeem yourself and earn the money you stole from my pocket. There's a painter in Los Angeles, Christian Starker. I want you to bring him to me. He has a remarkable talent. Some would say that it is not of this world, and in this they are right. I have arranged a meeting privately with him, and I want you to represent me. If you try to escape or betray me, I will find you easily. Remember that the people you care about are in my hands, and they will pay the price for your disobedience while you watch. I don't want to punish them for your wrongdoings, but if you fail me in this, then my hand will be forced. So, meet up with Mr. Starker, bring him to me in Vegas. He might resist. There may be others looking for him. You might see or experience strange things. None of this is of any consequence. Don't return without him. He must be alive. He nods to one of his henchmen, and an envelope is placed on the ground in front of you, with a folding pocket knife to weigh it down. The address and time of the arranged meeting. Do not be late. Mr. Pickett nods a brief farewell and returns to his car. Your gags are then removed at gunpoint. The henchmen return to their vehicles. Engines are started, and they drive away, leaving a trail of dust. One car is left behind for you. What do you do? George, your hands are tied in front of you. You can barely move them, and you can feel the ropes cutting in. You're almost convinced that they're bleeding. But the envelope is nearest to you, as is the knife. As you look around, you see some familiar faces. Tell me what state you're in and what you look like.
Disheveled. Rumpled suit. Did you say bleeding? from...
You think you might be bleeding. You're not sure. You're just beginning to get that focus back. And in fact, as you look down, you're not bleeding. It just hurts.
Okay. Elderly gentleman, 50s, mid 50s to late 50s. He's thinning hair. Yes, he looks out of sorts, and he looks around at his companions and reaches forward towards the letter hesitantly, kind of looking to see for his eyes to focus.
Okay. You see the letter in front of you. It's just at this point a closed envelope, and the address on it is you. What's the best way to put it? You recognize that the name on there, Samuel Stone, is one of the aliases to Mr. Pickett. What are you wearing? Just like a business suit?
Yes, three-piece suit, tweed. I seem to have misplaced my hat somewhere.
You were definitely wearing it last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to think what was the last thing that happened. Yes. It used to be quite an expensive suit. It's a little bit worn now, probably from whatever happened during the night. Yes. He could have at least, like, first thing that I say to the others as I'm reaching forward towards this knife and letter, he could have at least undone our bonds if we were going to do a job for him. Wait for a reaction.
I mean, the person right next to you, to your left, is Ray.
Ah.
Ray
Okay.
kind of now, as the chicken feed bag is removed from his head, he makes a big spit with a mixture of saliva and a little bit of blood, because there's no way they could put a chicken feed head on and a feed bag on his head without a fight.
Yeah.
Ray is quite a big guy, and his shirt is probably a little bit torn. It's a little bit blood-stained, but all of it isn't his. It was there even before it was grabbed yesterday.
And in fact, your arm is a little bit sore, your left arm, because not only was there a bit of a fight, but in the end, they actually had to knock you out with an anesthetic. And George is gesturing to you about this knife. And I would presume that one reason why George is doing that is because George knows if there's one person nearby that would be good at handling that knife without causing unintentional injury, it would be Ray. Ray, who is to your left?
I would say that's Fred.
So Fred is dressed in a three-piece suit of a very fine cloth. He has somehow managed to keep his hat, and he still looks quite good, even though there is a little bit of dust on him. He seems relatively unhurt, actually. Not very upset, just mumbles a little bit. Okay. We've been in this kind of situation before, boys and gal. Let's sort it out. Want a hand with that knife?
And to your left,
Got it.
cool. And to your left is Liza.
Yeah.
Tell us
Yes.
about yourself.
Yeah, still on her knees. She's got a fur-lined coat dangling in her arm. She's managed to keep hold of. obviously not in this heat. She's wearing a slim Dior black and red dress that looks completely out of place in this situation as she pulls the bag from off of her head. Looks down at her arms, sees she can't get out. But now her bag's off her head. Her kind of serene beauty is lost in the sweat of the desert, and having the bag on her head, she looks quite scuffled and roughed up in terms of disheveled hair and things. She turns to Fred and says, "Jesus, Fred, are you not going to help a girl up?"
Oh, sorry, love. Let me. So Fred gets up on his feet, walks over to the knife, and relatively easily cuts himself loose. He certainly have very flexible, nimble fingers. And
You'd think that, but unfortunately, you will cut yourself loose, but the knife's not that sharp and the rope is quite tough. So it's straightforward, but it certainly isn't quick.
Can I make a move?
No, it's just a very difficult challenge. I mean, you could do act under pressure, but I don't think it's, you're not really under pressure.
No, I have ace up the sleeve.
And I think Ray has already grabbed the knife.
All right. Okay, so we're helping each other. Oh, Ray, come on, cut me loose so I can help my old babe.
I walk over past Fred to Lisa and starts cutting her ropes first, giving Fred kind of a look of...
Well, I'm glad to see there's some chivalry left in the town. That's more than can be said of some people over here.
Aren't you a gentleman, Ray? Come on. Holds his hands forth.
Have I cut Lisa free yet, or is it still...
Yeah, it just takes a little while, so it probably takes 10-15 minutes to get through them.
Yeah, so I take him in the order of Lisa, George, myself, and then Fred. Don't be an eager person.
What the fuck are you talking about? Stop dicking around. Come on, cut me loose.
I will, eventually.
You were actually gagged under the chicken feed sacks, which is why they pulled them off your heads and spoke to you. They cut those gags as they left. And Ray, I'm sure that you're kind of thinking of picking that one back up. There's a letter on the floor.
I hand it to George.
Thank you, Mr. Astor. And I open it and read it. I'll read it out loud, if I can read it. Yep. Mr. Stone, I now know you see the same things I do. I will leave Los Angeles as soon as I've sold off some of my paintings. This handwriting is illegible. We can meet, but we need to be careful. I'm certain that I'm being watched. Meet me at the boathouse in Somerset Park, 9 p.m. Thursday, January 18th. There we can talk undisturbed. You can also contact me at the telephone number below, but I advise you to use it only in extreme emergencies. Christian Starker. ST788738.
Beautiful. So, yes. And as I said before, you recognize Stone as being an alias of Mr. Pickett, as do you, Liza. So you both know that this is a letter effectively from Christian Starker directly to your boss.
Turn to Fred and say, I know the kind of work that you've done for Mr. Pickett. Have you heard of this Starker before?
So Fred looks a little bit confused. No, I guess not.
Sure you've never come across him in your dirty dealings for Mr. Pickett?
Nah. I would remember.
George, once you're looking at that letter, there are two things that you notice. One is that there are some red spots in the lower right-hand side of the letter. And the other, after you fold it up and you scratch your nose just as a gesture, there's a smell on there. It's a smell of tobacco.
Okay. Do I know the brand?
Well, what do you know of tobacco? Is tobacco something you're particularly interested in?
Is it? I don't know. I think what I may do is I'll ponder on that for a while. I'll just say out loud, like, just, tobacco, and just kind of give it another smell, and then hand the paper around and say, there's some blood on there as well, and let the others look at it.
Yeah.
Did you say tobacco? Do you have smokes? I could kind of do with one right now.
So Fred starts to pat himself in the pockets. Does he find his usual package and lighter?
He does not. But there are two things that are probably worth mentioning at this point. The first is, I think that at some point, George probably was quite a heavy smoker. Whether or not he still is, I'm not sure. The second is that Ray has been withholding that the car that has been left is actually Ray's car.
So Ray starts walking towards his car. I need to see if my stuff is still in there.
Yeah. And I presume you go over to the trunk. And as you open that up, not only is all of your stuff there, but everyone's stuff is there. Apart from the hat.
Still no hat, though.
Before they come over to my trunk, I pick out their stuff and close the trunk again.
Mm-hmm.
And my normal carry stuff I pick out as well, not the stuff I normally keep in my car. That's still in the trunk.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess these are yours.
You got my things?
Yeah, sure. I have your things as well. George, your stuff are here. Fred, I guess this is yours.
Yeah, hand it over. Give it to me. I guess the stuff are in bags or something, because quite a lot of small stuff. Or
that's up to Ray.
Well, lady doesn't go anywhere without a bag.
Probably it's in a bag, because I don't think our boss's other employers would put small trinkets into my trunk. So I assume my stuff originally from the trunk is still there as is. Yeah. The other stuff they took from us when they grabbed us are in bags, brown paper bags.
That works. So it's early in the morning. It's probably around 8 a.m. at this point. And depending on what you want to do, I mean, there are a couple of things to be aware of. You've barely slept, if at all, since last night. So you're at this point, you've been awake for 24 hours at least, depending on your profession, obviously. So you're tired. You're a 5-hour drive straight to get to LA. You haven't eaten since yesterday.
The deadline for this is Thursday, January 18th. What day are we today?
The meeting is tonight.
Tonight. Okay.
We need to get driving if we're gonna do this.
Well, I would not mind some sleep if possible. If we can go and get a few hours. I mean, it's nearly 12 hours, 13 hours till we need to be there.
You can sleep in the car. You see, I can fold the passenger seat backwards, and if Fred scoots a little bit, you can almost lie down and get some sleep.
What the fuck are you going on about? Do you want me to sit in George's lap?
Do you have a problem with that?
No.
You have to give a man a little bit of space. You know that, Ray. Shut the fuck up.
Mind your manners, Hayden.
Yeah.
Well, you boys can relax.
I walk up face to face to Fred and leans over with all my hulking physique and go, "Do you want to walk?"
Yeah, I can fucking drive.
You boys can put your testosterone back in the trunk of that car. I'm not the kind of lady that's going to sleep on the passenger seat anyway.
So, what's your idea, babe?
I would like to go back to my king-size bed back at the casino.
All right. Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Can look around. Can we see how far away we are? Can we see anything other than desert here?
No, I mean, you know enough to know that you're 5 hours from Las Vegas. Or have that gut feeling. You're definitely, or not from Las Vegas, from Los Angeles. I'm just bringing up a map.
Okay.
I would say that with that in mind, you're a good hour away from Vegas.
Okay.
If not more.
While I'm kind of looking around, seeing what's going on, I'm going to take a little tablet out of my tin box and take it, because I'm probably feeling like I need that, and take a little shot from my flask and swallow, stifle a few coughs with my hanky, and then say, "I can drive first, if that's okay with you, Mr. Astor."
Of course, George. And if you then don't want the passenger seat, Lisa, is it okay if I sit next to George?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think we have time to be going and lying down for a nap. I mean, I don't know if you heard what Mr. Pickett said, but our families, he has them. They're under threat. We need to go.
What the
I
fuck?
know for a fact what...
He's got Joan, Liza. He's got Joan.
Well, she's always in the hotel, Fred. I've made certain she does not leave that room, though, not unaccompanied. He won't have her yet.
What? This is fucked up shit. Damn, okay. Let's sit down in the back. It'll be like old times.
At the least, we can...
What do you say, Liza?
Well, I'm getting in the car, but they're not expected to be like old times. Not that easy.
You're playing hard to get. I like it.
At the least, we could find a payphone somewhere nearby and try and ring. I could try and ring my home, see if my family are there, see if he's calling our bluff or not.
So you are in the middle of the desert, so there aren't any payphones here, but obviously you can call when you...
We can try and find the nearest diner.
Yeah, we still need to eat on the way, but let's go to where Mr. Pickett needs us.
I mean, you've got plenty of time. If you set out now, let's call it 8:30, 1:30. Going back to your letter, you need to be there 9 p.m. So, there's enough time at the other end to find a hotel, get some food.
Make a call or two.
Maybe you want to investigate what's on the letter or whatever. So let's make a presumption that, you get in the car and you start driving, and it takes, give or take, around 5 hours to get there. So it's now just after lunchtime.
So, George, can you make out anything on that letter? What is it? That red stuff.
It's blood, man.
It's blood. All right.
And Fred, at that point, you take it, and you, presuming that George is holding the letter out and showing, and you scratch at it a little bit, and it flakes off, and you get it under your fingernail, and you're pretty convinced at this point that it's paint.
So Fred licks his fingertip and feels the, what do you say in English, texture?
Yeah. Consistency, texture.
Consistency, yeah. And it looks a little bit at George, and, you know, this ain't blood. I've seen blood before. You know that. It's paint.
Oh, let me have a look at that. Oh, I didn't have my glasses on.
I hand it back to him.
Kind of take it back and...
You're so used to those letters
Oh, yes.
that Starker has being that Pickett has actually having specks of blood on, that you kind of just presumed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well...
What kind of paint? Can you make it out?
I mean, red.
Awesome.
Very observant.
Yeah.
You guys know that the guy who sent this letter is an artist? Just saying.
Mm.
Maybe he dropped some paint while doing his work. I don't know.
Yeah. Just double check the postmark on it. That it has actually come from LA. Yeah.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just so that we're not being sent off on some wild goose chase. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For all intents and purposes, it looks legitimate. I mean, as best as can be told, yeah. It looks like it's been properly, you know, there's a Los Angeles stamp on there, and it's postmarked for LA, and it looks like any of the other envelopes that you've ever received in
Seems legit.
professional. Yeah.
Are you worried that it's not going to be who he says he is? Have you heard his name before? Does anybody know him? Who hangs around in the art world?
Not me. Not since I moved to America.
I mean, if he's famous, maybe he's got an exhibition we can go and see. Try and get some information.
Hmm.
So you're now in LA, so absolutely, there are a few things that you can do. It's the middle of the day, so you can find a payphone if that's what you want to do. You can ask around if there's anything you want to find out there. There's obviously also, there are galleries, there's places where you can look things up. So if you wanted to find more information, there are a few ways that you can do that.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a move then. I use Streetwise to use my network to see if I can find out something about this gentleman, Darker.
Sure, okay. So let's do that.
2 dices, add charisma. No.
Sure. And tell me where you're going, first of all. Or in conjunction.
Well, basically, I'm sorry, I didn't understand it, where I'm going, where I'm looking for.
Yeah, so where are you going to use this Streetwise? So are you going to walk into a library, into a gallery?
Galleries, I guess, because it's he's supposed to be an artist, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we do shady deals with art as well. So I use those connections, and I rolled a 0 and a 7, so that's 17, I guess. Or is it 7? 7?
You just add them.
Yeah, so it's 17.
10 and so 17, yeah.
Plus
so
1,
that's no
18.
problem. You go to the, you park up whilst George is keeping his eyes peeled for a payphone. And as luck would have it, just across the street, being mindful not to jaywalk, there is a gallery. It's obviously the kind of gallery that sells paintings rather than one that just displays them. And you head in, and there's an attractive young woman who's not a patch on your ex-wife. Sees your impeccable suit and comes up to you smiling, wide-eyed. She's got, kind of dollar symbols in her eyes, basically looking at you. Hey, how can I help you?
Oh, nice to meet you, miss.
You can call me Michelle.
Nice to meet you, Michelle. Well, I'm just here. I'm looking for some art. Maybe, perhaps you could help me.
Sure, we've got art.
There is there's an up-and-coming artist, I hear. His name is Christian Starker. Have you heard of him?
I have. I mean, we don't have anything of Starker's here. I mean, he's got a studio.
All right. Do you know where?
And she does contemplates for a second. She says, well, I'm not quite sure. I don't know too much about him. And she goes off and finds effectively the owner. And this kind of really pretentious guy comes back and is like, well, yes, you see, the thing with Christian Starker is that, for quite a while, several years, in fact, I'd say he was mediocre at best. To be perfectly honest with you. And of course, we wouldn't even dream of even looking at his work. It was just poor.
Right.
But maybe 18 months, 2 years ago, it all changed, and now we can't get a hold of the paintings for love nor money. You're looking for for his studio, I take it.
Yeah, seems like he had some sort of epiphany, right?
Yeah, exactly. He became something of an overnight celebrity. I mean, he's doing these paintings that, a lot of them are portraits, you see, of others, of famous people particularly, but, they're not all that pretty. Some would say they capture the soul of the subject, rather than obviously the glitz and the glamour of everyday life here. But still, I mean, they go for a preposterous amount of money, many dollars.
Yeah, you know who I work for?
No.
Nah.
It's...
If I whisper his name, you would be serious here. So, where is this guy located? Where can I find him?
Well, at the Starker studio, of course.
Yeah, where's that?
And he basically looks at you like, oh my God, you're the most stupid person. Reaches over to the phone book, pulls the phone book over and pretty much holds it up and goes, here, under S for Starker Studio, I tell you what, you can have it. I mean, you obviously need it more than me. He gives you this phone book.
So Fred flashes his gun. Yeah, I'll give Mr. Pickett your regards.
Means nothing to me.
Well, you'll know.
Different city.
And he walks out.
In the car, George turns to the others and says, "Doesn't work so well on men, does it?"
No, apparently.
Don't worry, George. It doesn't work on the ladies either. The charm soon wears off.
So, as he approaches, say, "Any luck in there, Mr. Hayden?"
Well, Liza, you know, it doesn't, rubs off that maybe between you and me, but that lady friend of yours, the cute one, Kirby, yeah, what we did. She liked it well enough.
You're being rather crass.
Yeah, but you burned it, bitch.
That's the mother of your child.
Nothing my
But
car.
he barely mumbles this. It's barely audible.
Damn it, I need coffee and I need some breakfast or lunch or both.
I need to make a phone call.
Let's find a diner. You okay, Lisa?
Yes, yeah. I thought we were going to eat on the way, and you just kept driving on.
Yeah.
Broken promises and all.
Sorry about that. We'll find you a diner pretty soon.
Well, we could always go to that one over there. It's right next to the payphone, and we're all in the same place.
Excellent.
George, you're the money man. Have you got any cash with you, maybe?
I wouldn't say I'm made of money, but I can certainly shout everyone breakfast. Apart from Fred, of course. Claps him on the shoulder in a very cold way and says, "I'm joking, Fred. I'll buy you breakfast."
That's all right.
Well, let's go get a table, right?
Sounds excellent.
So it's probably coming up to 3 o'clock at this point, and by the time you've had breakfast and kind of discussed the information that Fred was given at the gallery, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in that not only could they not get hold of the paintings for love nor money, but most of the other galleries have just banned his work outright for it being so incendiary that the art basically portrayed quite a lot of influential people as monsters or not the people that they ought to be, certainly politicians, businessmen, etc. And that some of the other galleries might have some of his work, but of course his studio is the most obvious place to go. And why on earth didn't you check it first? Really patronizing crap, basically, from this guy. By the time you've eaten, you're looking at realistically about 3:30.
Yeah, George, I really think I need to go check out the boathouse in the park. It's always good to know the terrain where you're gonna grab someone.
Yes. Get the lay of the land.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to ring Shannon and see if she's okay first.
There is a phone in the diner, which you could use.
Yeah, I'll just go to the end of the bar, the service area, and pop some coins in it and see if there's any answer.
Sure. So, as I said, it's about 3:30. Shannon is a singer. Your wife is a singer at the casino. So she works nights, effectively. So she would be normally up around half an hour ago, probably. Takes her a couple of hours to get herself ready.
Yeah.
And within one ring, the phone picks up. George, where are you? You didn't come home. Did you take William with you?
No. Is James with you?
James is here, but where's William? Where are you?
Just like, he kind of holds the phone away from him, slams his hand on the counter in anger, and says, "Son of a bitch," and then composes himself, goes back on the phone and says, "Yes, he's on a business trip with me, darling. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry I didn't have time to leave you a message. I'm doing important work for Mr. Pickett, going up in the world possibly. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. I love you both very much. And I will see you shortly."
Just come home, and don't do that again.
I won't. Make sure you get the sitter in, and yes, I'll be back in a day or two. It's very important work that I'm doing. Maybe call in sick tonight, actually.
You hear a strange crackle on the line.
If you don't feel so well, up to you.
George, just hurry home.
I will do. Goodbye.
And
Yeah, my love.
George gets back to the table.
At the moment you hang up, the phone rings.
Ah, you son of a... Like, look down to see if anyone is expecting. And if no one looks like they're coming for the phone, then pick it up.
Ray just looks at George and goes, kind of like this. He basically knew this was coming.
Mr. Stevenson, don't be late to your meeting, or your son will be. Do your job. Click. You need to take -2 to your stability.
Yup.
And when a very shaken George gets back to the table, I just go, will you grab them all or just one of them?
One of my sons.
Yep.
And on that note, we'll end this episode. So, thank you very much for our first episode of Gallery of Souls for KULT Divinity Lost. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like and the subscribe, and we'll have the next episode up very, very soon. Just want to run through our cast, and thank you so much for playing. Liza was played by Chris. Is waving for anyone who's listening rather than watching. And George was played by Martyn.
Hello.
Ray was played by Joel, and Fred.
Hello and goodbye.
And Fred by Robby.
Hi and goodbye.
And we'll catch you very soon. And in the meantime, I hope your dice rolls are way better than mine. Thanks very much. Take care. Let's do a little bit of a discussion over that episode before we call it. So that was our first time playing anything KULT. Interesting place to end. Any thoughts?
Interesting group dynamics.
Yeah, it's kind of 3 against 1, it feels like at the moment.
So the thing that, for our audience's benefit, everyone has only seen their own character sheets, really. So, as a result, no one really knows what each other thinks of them. But the character sheets actually do tell you your relationships to the other party, the other player characters.
Yeah. So Fred and Liza is a little bit frosty at this stage, I would say.
It looks like it. It looks like it.
We do have a daughter. That will be interesting.
Yeah. Shall we? It's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to the next one.
Definitely.
Thanks once again, everyone, for watching or listening, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. Thanks.
See you.
Hi, I'm Phil, and I just wanted to thank you for joining us for our actual play of Gallery of Souls in KULT Divinity Lost. Our channel is a labour of love, and your feedback helps us to tailor the channel to you, our viewers. So if you have enjoyed the show, please help us to gain XP by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and that sort of stuff. I also want to take some time out to thank Plate Mail Games for our amazing background audio, and also to thank Seth Skorkowsky for his additional player handouts, his general advice around this scenario, around running KULT Divinity Lost, horror games, Call of Cthulhu, and just being generally great for the hobby. Links to both of those resources, as well as to the Dark Orb Discord server and our Patreon, of course, are below, and I'd consider it a great honor if you take the time to just check those out. So once again, thanks very much for joining us. I hope we'll see you again soon, and until then, well, I hope your dice rolls are way better than mine. Thanks.